Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to your second online class. I hope you all are happy and safe at your homes. In the previous lecture, we were talking about the unit number 1, which is the quadratic equation. We have already discussed in detail. In the previous lecture, we were discussed definition of the quadratic equation and its types and its standard form. Now we are talking about the methods to solve the quadratic equations. There are three different methods to solve the quadratic equation. The first one is the solution by factorization. The second one is the solution by completing square, and the third one is the solution by quadratic formula. Here we are going to talk about the solution of the quadratic equations by factorization. You know very well that what is factorization, because you know in the previous class of chapter number 5 you have already discussed in detail that what is quadratic equation, but I am repeating that factorization is a process in which we convert the expression into two linear factors, and in this method we have to select the two different numbers such that r plus s equals to b. What does it mean here? We have to select two numbers such that when we add both these numbers, the value should be this one, b, and when you have to find the product of both these numbers, the answer should be a into c. Here a is the value of the first value of the quadratic equation, and the second value c is the third value of the quadratic equation. In this way we can factorize it into the two linear factors. Now here are an example question, and in this question we can understand completely that how to factorize a equation and its solution. And the example question is 3x square minus 6x equals to x plus 20. Here you know that the equation is not in the standard form, because when the equation is not in the standard form we cannot find out the solution of the quadratic equation, or we cannot factorize it. So first of all we have to arrange it according to the standard form. According to the standard form, the first value should be of x square, the second value of x, and the third one is only the constant. In the extreme right hand side there must be 0. So in the second step I just shift that value of x on the left side. Here the plus x, when we shift on the left side it will be the minus x, and plus 20 when it will be shifted on the left side it will be the minus 20, and then equals to 0. In the next step 3x square as it is, you know that the same values 6x and minus x, minus plus 6x and 1x must be equals to minus 7x, and minus 20 equals to 0. Here you know that the standard form is x square, x and the only constant, and then equals to 0. So we know that the first value of x square is a 3, the second value of x minus 7, which is b, and the last value only constant, the value of c equals to minus 0. As we have discussed in the previous slide that we have to select the two factors, and the two factors such that when we have to take the product it must be equal to the value of b, and when we add these two factors it must be equal to the second value, which is c. So in the next step, so the above equation can be written as 3x square. We are selecting the two numbers, which is 12 and 5. We know that 12 multiplied by 5 is 60, and 12 minus Yes, 12 minus 5 is minus 7. Okay ji. So 3x square minus 12x plus 5x minus 20 equals to 0. And in the next step, there are now you can see that in the above step there are the 4 values. So we have to make the pair of two values, and by taking common. And in the first pair, we are taking common 3x, and the remaining value is, by taking common 3x, the first value is x minus 3 4s are 12. The remaining value is only 4 in the bracket. And in the second pair, 5 is taking common, x is the remaining value minus as it is, and then 5 4s are 20, so 4 is the remaining value equals to 0. In this step you can see that x minus 4 and x minus 4 both are the same factors, and if you have done your factorization completely correct, then it must be the same. So you can see that x minus 4 and x minus 4 is totally the same factors. It means that we have done the correct factorization. In the next step, by taking common, 3x plus 5 will make the first linear factor, and x minus 4 by taking common will be the second factor, and then equals to 0. Here you can see that the two factors are the linear because its power is 1. Both factors have the power 1 in the variable. So at this step we have completed our factorization, but we have to ask that we have to solve this equation. So when we have to solve the two equations or one equation, we must have to put it equals to 0 to find the solution of that equation. We have already taking equals to 0, so we just have in the next step 3x plus 5 equals to 0 to get the solution of the quadratic equation, or the second factor, which is x minus 4, must be equals to 0. In the next step we have to find the value of x here, so we have to shift that plus 5 on the right side. It will be the minus 5, and here x minus 4 must be shifted on the right side, must be equals to 4. So here x equals to 4, and here x equals to, it is multiplied by x, then we have to divide on the other side. It will be minus 5 by 3. So these are the two answers of the x. At the end, solution set. In the solution set, we have to take the curly bracket, the first value of x comma the second value of x. This is the solution of the quadratic equation, right? So now we are talking about exercise 1.1, question number 2, solve by factorization. There are total 6 parts in this question, and here exercise 1.1, question number 2, part number 2. I am going to solve question number 2, part number 2, and solve by factorization. The question is 3y square equals to y into y minus 5. Again, you know very well that it is not the standard form of the quadratic equation. So first of all, we have to convert it into the standard form, then we can factorize and solve it. So first of all, we have to expand the brackets here, and it will be 3y square as it is equals to y into y square minus 5 into y, 5y. In the next step, 3y square as it is, we have to shift all the values of the right hand side to the left side, and it will be plus y square. Shifted on the left side, it will be minus y square, and minus 5y, when we shift on the left side, it will be the plus 5y equals to 0. Here you know that 3y square and y square are the same values. By solving it, 3y square minus y square will be 2y square, and plus 5y as it is equals to 0. Here you can see that y, we can take y common of the both values, so it will be y into 2y plus 5 equals to 0. Again, you can see that y into 2y plus 5, these are the two linear factors of that quadratic equation and equals to 0. So we have done our factorization. Now we have to solve the quadratic equation. So what we have to do, we have to equate these two linear factors equals to 0, and it will be y equals to 0, or the second factor, which is 2y plus 5 equals to 0. Here the first factor, which is only y, we have already get a solution of that value, which is 0, and from the second factor we can find out the value of y, and it will be 2y as it is plus 5. When we shift on the right side, it will be minus 5, and the y multiplied by 2. We have to get the value of y only, so here the multiplied by 2. When we have to shift on the right side, it will be the minus 5 by 2. The second value of y is minus 5 by 2. So the solution of the variable in y square, the first solution is 0 and the second is minus 5 by 2. Again, we have to write it into the solution set. So the solution set is 0 comma minus 5 by 2. So this is our required quadratic equation. Okay ji, another question. Question number 2, part number 6, and the question is 2 by x minus 9 equals to 1 over x minus 3 minus 1 over x minus 4. Here is a fraction, and you know very well that it is also not in the standard form, so we have to take the process to convert it into the standard form, then factorize, and then again solve it by using the previous question. So because it is a fraction and the fractions cannot be solved by simply adding or subtracting the numbers, because we have to take the LCM of these two numbers. So let's start the solution of the question, and it is 2 over x minus 9 as it is equals to, here the LCM of these two numbers or the factors is x minus 3 and x minus 4 is the LCM. You know very well that how to find the LCM of these two fractions. X minus 5, we have to actually divide this factor by this LCM, and the remaining answer of that factor multiplied by the above numerator of the fraction. So x minus 3 and x minus 3 will be the same values. The remaining value must be x minus 1, and x minus 1 is the multiplied by 1. So when we have to multiply by 1, the answer will be same, x minus 4 minus as it is, and the same process, x minus 4 and x minus 4 is also same, so it will be cancelled out by each other, and the remaining value is x minus 3. So we have to multiply this factor by the 1. Again, when we multiply this factor by 1, the answer should be same, it is x minus 3. Okay, second step, 2 over x minus 9 equals to, here by expanding the brackets, x minus 4 as it is, and you know very well that when the minus sign is on the outside of the bracket, it will be changed the signs of all the internal values of the bracket. So it is minus x will be, plus x will be the minus x, minus minus plus, and 3 divided by, these are the two factors, so can be multiplied by each other. In the previous lecture I have already taught you that how we can multiply these two factors. So by using the previous process, we multiplied x into x, x square, x into 4 minus 4x, minus 3 into x minus 3x, and minus minus plus, 3 4s are 12. Now the next step, 2 over x minus 9 as it is equals to, here plus x and minus x will be cancelled out, the answer must be 0, and minus 4 and plus 3, plus minus minus 4 minus 3 is minus 1, divided by x square as it is, again the same values, minus 4x and minus 3, minus minus plus, 4x minus 3x would be minus 7x, and plus 12 as it is. Now we have already solved these two fractions on the left side and on the right side. Now because we have to convert this question into the standard form, so we don't have any need the denominator of these fractions. So by resolving these denominator, we must have to cross multiply these fractions. So by cross multiplication, it would be 2 into x square minus 7x plus 12 equals to minus 1 into x minus 9. So by expanding the bracket, 2 into x square, 2x square, 2 into 7, 14x, and 2 into 12 is plus 24. Here equals to minus 1 into x minus x minus minus plus 9 ones are 9. 2x square as it is minus 14x, and again we have to shift all the values of the right hand side towards the left hand side. It will be minus x. When we shift on the left side, it will be the plus x, plus 24 as it is, and here plus 9. When we shift on the left side, it will be the minus 9 equals to 0. Here 2x square as it is, again the same values, plus minus minus 14 plus minus 14 plus 1 would be minus 13x, and 24 minus 9 is plus 15 equals to 0. So here we have to convert, we have converted into the standard form. The first value is x square, the second value is x, and the last one is the constant equals to 0. Now we have to factorize it. And for the factorization, you know very well that we have to select the two numbers, and these two numbers, when we multiply these two numbers, it must be equals to the a into c, and we have to add these numbers, it would be the b value. So here we have selected two numbers, which is 10 and 3. 10 3 is a 30 because 15 2 is a 30, and minus minus plus, it would be 10 and 3 13, and the plus 15 as it is. Again we have the four values, we have to select the pair of the two values by taking common, and the common value is here 2x. By taking common 2x, it will be x minus 5, and here by taking common minus 3, it would be x minus 5 equals to 0. Again x minus 5 and x minus 5 the same value, our factorization have done correctly. So it would be 2x minus 3 would be the first factor, and x minus 5 would be the second factor, again equals to 0. Because we have to solve this question, so we must have to put these two linear factors equals to 0. So in the next step, 2x minus 3 equals to 0 or x minus 5 equals to 0. Here we have to find the value of x. So 2x as it is, we have to shift this minus on the right side, it would be the 3x, and here we can find the directly value of x, it would be x is equals to 5, and x here x equals to 3 by 2. These are the two answers of the variable x, and which is the solution of the quadratic equation. So the solution set is 3 by 2 comma 5 by 5. Now some practice questions which you have to solve it by yourself. Exercise 1.1, question number 2, part 1, 3, 4 and 5. And if you have any query to solve this question, you can ask in the comment box. Inshallah, in the next lecture we will discuss the next question. Till then, Allah Hafiz, Jazakallahu Khairan.